I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago, and I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Webb. I am an investigative journalist, and in 1996 I wrote a series of stories entitled Dark Alliance, which was about CIA involvement in drug trafficking.
I knew a man who once said death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back.
We're both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go on.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the rest.
Number 322.
I sad duty to report this afternoon that my friend and colleague, Tim Russert, collapsed and died early this afternoon.
I may die in this cell tonight or in the arena tomorrow. I am a slave. What possible difference can I make?
And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
Hello, you already deadheads. Welcome back to another of your favorite weekly live call-in parapolitical conspiracy show with me and Austin Wade Picard, me, Jose Galison. Today our guest is Rotting Jules, a.k.a. Dana DooDah, the Candace Slayer herself. She is changing narratives, timelines as we speak. She is just the one pulling the marionettes. But we're happy to have her with us today. Do want to remind you guys, we see a good amount of y'all in here. The hype is real. In about 10 minutes or so, our phone lines will open up. You can call in at 1-833-722-3323. If you have any questions, particularly on theme. It's not only Candace, not only TPUSA. Dana DooDah, actually, funny enough, got down this road by kind of being the processian, I guess you could say, one of maybe an expert. Maybe she's not rife to accept that claim. I don't know, but I know subject matter expert of some sort. But these things overlapped, as they tend to do when you are have your head down in the books. Every now and then you look up and go, holy shit, some big stuff is happening that I know about. And it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Dana, any thoughts? I know recently as I've kind of alluded to, there's been a big timeline shift, it seems. I think we were going down a Alex Jones, Sandy Hook redux, and it looks like that may have, we got the old shut it down instead.
Well, I haven't watched it myself, but I've had multiple people tell me that, yeah, they shut it down, which is what I said was going to happen, because I do think that she was going to go full hoaxer, and I think that it was going to be a major move for censorship of people like us. You know, it's on YouTube, right? She's not on her own website. She's not on a mainstream media platform. So who's going to fire her? It's going to come down to the rest of YouTubers. And I mean, whatever, I was really hoping for a cat fight. I'm like, pull out Erika's weave, let's fucking go. But that's not going to happen, obviously, at least not yet. So we'll see.
I see, I can see someone said, I guess people, Candace fans are in there. I see them saying stuff like, Jose put on a shirt. Like, obviously, they're a hater. What the hell? That's obviously they're here just to shit on Dana for Candace research. But yeah, I guess there are some people in chat. I haven't noticed them. But hey, feel free to feed my algo, complain all in there. I mean, if the bigger the chat is, we probably won't be interacting with the chat too much. I think Austin has super chats. We streamed to both of ours. I am demonetized, so you won't be able to get my attention with a super chat, but you can with Austin if you want to give him money. Otherwise, patrons do get the video call option the second half of the show, So they can come on. So if you do want to chip in and give either me or Austin some money, you can hop in the second half. Otherwise, you can just call in at any time during the show. Well, I say anytime. In about 10 minutes, the phone lines will open up. But yeah, I watched. Actually, Austin, you want to get a word in? What are your thoughts on the Candace stuff? You haven't been paying attention. I know I pop in and out so I can be aware of it because I do like a daily show, so I kind of have to keep up with the Gen Pop faggotry. But I know, Austin, you're more of a in the books researcher, so you kind of stray away from this homosexuality. Where's your brain at with all this?
Yeah, well, I will say I try to insulate myself quite often just from that very, I just think the sinister nature of it's much more of the performative nature of the influencer industrial complex, and these what we described as the influencer wars are upon us, and Tim Pool out here basically acting as if he's questioning the credibility of Candace and kind of assassinating her character.
Big hero standing up to Candace.
Hey man, Chatham House rules, I guess they don't apply here. But no, it's interesting to me because I do feel like we've been discussing so much of I mean, we honestly could have predicted in a certain way just what's happening in Australia right now. And I'm not pivoting. I'm just saying that by covering what we named one of these episodes Australian Gladio, and that was a few weeks back, if not a couple months ago. And that was covering the Australian arsonists who were just picking up and apparently traveling ridiculous amount of the distance geographically in order to commit this ridiculous arsonist kind of. Where was it? It was at I think it was at
synagogue.
Synagogue. Yeah.
Which I think one of the guys who got burned and then also targeted another thing. I don't think he was in the attack, but he was one of the first major commenters on the scene. So many such cases.
Hey, buddy, that all that I think of in that context is who was the person that they decided to tap in order to bring in as a useful asset for the media presentation of the Brown University shooting that just occurred. It happened to be a student victim from the Parkland shooting, who then grew up and went to follow the path of going to Brown University to become a Brown University student victim of the shooting that just occurred. So, and then provide their obvious, just as far as just their personal experience and perspective on what occurred. But
do you remember the last shooting we had that happen? Because I think it was the one recently. I forget where it happened at. But come to find out, one of the people who I think killed in that it was actually the son of some like former Cuban exile that was like one of the worst ones. So you're like, this looked like a legit hit. And then there also happened to be one of those double school shooter or type things in there. So you're like, what the fuck is going on here?
No, I'm tripping at this point. It's like we have Erika Kirk. She's dropping bars like Eminem. I mean, like honestly, talk about pageantry. I'm just, I don't know, Dana. You are providing quite the service in this moment, and I think it's very valuable. And I couldn't be more grateful just because, personally, as I mentioned privately. I mean, you're reinforcing my bias and confirming it in many ways, and I appreciate that when it feels like it's coming from a credible and reliable place. That obviously I looked into some of the connections that you laid out, and just to check, and you're 100% spot on, and it's just fascinating. And Brad and I were talking on whatever this is, like, yeah, it's on his resume in terms of Candace Owens' father, which I don't know. At the end of the day, I just I appreciate the instinct that I've been able to develop over time, just based on overexposing myself to a lot of these cases and the details, provided in terms of let's just say the social engineering mind manipulators that stem from the Tavistock Institute and very much apply in modern day, as far as the ultimate goal of influencing and subverting just the moral values of Western society, and also ratcheting up the culture war in every way, escalating tension. No one can agree on anything whatsoever. We're all bogged down in these ridiculous, nonsensical details that truly don't ultimately kind of matter, right? And when it boils down to the ethical context of the issue at large and how it effectively reinforces the current power paradigm. So yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to say is how grateful I am. So not just are you doing amazing, valuable work that's providing context and legitimate evidentiary connections that very much kind of blow these what feel like were manufactured personalities to begin with, because all you have to do is dig a little bit below the surface and trace back these strange rises to prominence that so many of these, let's say, I don't know, members of the let's say they're just kind of operatives in the context of the MindWar, and that was but that was my favorite part of what you tied in with Paul Villeli. And when that part was my favorite, honestly, out of everything, just so far, just because how directly it connects to the book that they wrote, From PSYOP to MindWar, The Psychology of Victory, and it lays out the playbook of how you domestically disrupt society. So
and the thing that's so frustrating for me is, and look, let's give Candace her flowers. You know, she worked really, really hard, and I think that her family contributed to it, to hide who her family was, because I spent a lot of fucking time. I was like going full schizophrenic. I'm like, they're going to send me to the funny farm. I'm going to go Brittany on a live. Like I have to figure out if this is her family. Like, and I was very nervous to present the information because it is controversial, but it's like, once you kind of just sit back and look through everything, it's like, oh, this makes sense. So like, she does get her flowers for that. But you know, finding Villeli on the board and then tracing him back, he's been on that board in that role since at least 2018. The fact that Candace did not take that was such a low blow that she could have just hit TPUSA and fucking ran with it. And I think that part of the reason why she didn't is because at least we know as late as September of 2024, she was still on the board of Blexit. It's not even confirmed exactly when she was removed. So this, you know, seemingly disparate relationship, and I think that all of these characters are kind of putting their little, you know, personal tidbits into it, and so people are getting into the relational aspect, and it's like, I don't give a fuck. I want to see the tax filings. I want to see the money, because she was paying herself $250,000 2 years in a row, $230,000 the year prior to that, while they were getting no money. Like, and she was still writing herself checks. And I'm like, bitch, you raggedy ass hoe. Like, you are not coming from the struggle. You are literally from Stamford, Connecticut. Like, your grandpa's story is the only one that seems to be legit. And even your grandpa was calling you on your bullshit before he died.
That reminds me of the
real quick, Austin, I do want to let people know the lines are open. 1-833-722-DEAD. That's 1-833-722. Sorry, wait for the number to come back around. Actually, I'll look. 3323. So give a call. But sorry, go ahead, Austin.
You're good, buddy. Yeah, no, that just instantly reminded me of her little just acting scam job that she tried to achieve in terms of the luxury apartment scam that she ran there with that's the funniest thing ever.
She didn't address that in her episode today.
Of course not.
She did not. She slapped down a few little things that were nonsensical, but there's some that didn't, which I thought that was interesting.
You know why I think is that? And I didn't even bring that up because I feel like people know about that. Her sister also tried to do the same thing. They were both living in that apartment complex. I have all the court filings because I found her parents' divorce records, right? So I was like, I got to look at this whole family. So I'm sitting there like looking at all the court records.
Are you sure they're not Somali?
Stop it, Jose.
That's a dumb joke. Sorry.
I know I couldn't hear you the first time. No, but like, I'm like, oh, her sister did that too. So that might be why, because she probably doesn't want to implicate her sister, because I didn't go into it, but her sister has a real cush job with Black & Decker and probably doesn't want to get her sister in trouble. So,
man, they're scamming the system. Yep. No, I felt like at a, I don't know, at a young age, that in itself, just the just the idea and the concept of being able to run some kind of sophisticated scam. Obviously she wasn't successful in this, but at the same time it's a perfect window into the psychology of the person. And that's something I think that is important, as little as this really matters at the end of the day. I think it does at the very least lend a little bit more credibility into the notion that she is some sort of manufactured personality that's up for, let's just say, kind of at any moment it feels like she's willing to go where the money leads at a certain, not that that's the only benefit. Obviously, I think the prominent notoriety of the right, almost becoming a victim of your own gimmick at the end of the day, that's what a lot of people truly do become in terms of these social media influencers at the highest level. Yeah, it's something that's difficult to discern for yourself, who and who is not actively a part and in league with the ultimate agenda, because I think that's kind of where it ultimately boils down to who is acting in bad faith and has bad intentions behind their presentation. And I feel that in every way with Candace, and just at face value, I can't really stand the way she speaks to me. It feels insulting. Like maybe
she thinks she's smarter. She thinks that she's smarter than everybody else. And I say this because all of her naysayers want to say that, like, I'm jealous of her definitely not gay husband or her wealth. And it's
yeah, the beard.
Yeah, no, she's a total fucking beard, dude. Like, seriously. Yeah. And it's like, you know, as a woman, I think that she is very condescending. And I think that more women pick up on that than guys, because we can kind of see through her bullshit. Like, and so it's like, I see what she's doing. And I think that while she wants to sit there and act tough, she's also very quick to pull that victim card of like, I'm under attack. And it's like, does anybody think that the leaders of the French, let's just say France, period, that they are going to take out a hit on the wife of Lord Farmer's son, the honorable farmer? Look, shut the fuck up. Y'all have been taken for a really long ride. It's been fun. Macron definitely has a dick. And that's it. The PSYOP is over. It's been fascinating to watch, like, all of this unfold in real time. And who knew that my process genealogy work would come in handy someday, and that it would be causing such a stir. But it's like, I want her, if anything, because again, I didn't know at the time when I said it. I was like, talk about Sandy Hook, like, go do it, like, go max with that. That's what she says, go max, like, that's your home state, girl. And I didn't know that connection was there. And it just goes to show they give themselves credibility to the public by talking about certain truths. They take it to a certain length, and then they don't go any further than that.
This is why I've been saying as of late to really keep your eye on the ball, like focus on the information, not so much the person. I mean, at a certain point, you do get a point where you're like, okay, I don't think anyone here would maybe assert that she is a fed or whatever, but I think I've been watching the ball long enough to see her doing the little fake outs, moving her feet around and nothing happening, that I go, like, okay, I know you're not going right. I can see the ball moving towards me. It's been moving towards me at the same consistent speed this entire time. You're just doing dumb shit. I mean, you watch enough, and nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. I mean, okay, I know there's some little grains. People, the Egyptian planes. I haven't even bothered digging into the Egyptian planes. It sounds nonsensical to me. Like, I don't know. I was an aircraft mechanic. Like, I'm not that I'm like someone who knew a ton about this and that, but it was all the time we'd see foreign shit on the base. It's not that crazy. So the idea that, like, there's an Egyptian plane, huh?
That feels like a red herring to me.
Yeah, it's also such an unconfirmable thing. It's all like, because there's like, we're not talking about just like one thing. We're talking about series of flights at different times, and it's like, okay, yeah, they might be near bases and they might overlap. Is it really that? It just seems like something to drive you nuts trying to sift through. I'd never even really bothered looking through it. I mean, the one that was pretty obvious was the fucking the French shooting thing. It was like, or assassination attempt. It's like, what was produced? What was produced to back this up? And I know she kind of trained everyone to like be ready for some huge drop way after the fact, but it's way after the fact now, and we still haven't got the drop. I'm open for the drop of receipts. I'm ready. I'm willing. I'm waiting. Really? I just haven't seen it. It seems ridiculous. What we got was some text or something, and then there's some fucking Jew that's moving in nearby to my city, and so they're clearly trying to kill me. It made no fucking sense. It's so. I mean, like, yeah, we had the weird Israel thing that gave some level of credibility there, but it's like, I don't know, you can only ride off that for so long. This is why I don't even really care, like, I mean, this whole, like, credibility, there's really almost nobody that, like, will get me what the sources say, like, for the most part. Like, I'll take it under advisement and be like, okay, I've heard it from this and that. But, like, I mean, how many times, say, between, like, the Trump administration and the Israeli administration did we get every time they're doing something crazy? Ooh, they're really at odds, sources say. Are they really? Are they really?
I'm not. The deep state is warring right now. It's like, shut the fuck up, Tulsi. Okay, like, you're the last person that we need to hear from. It's like, come on, guys, pay attention. And it's like, what? Candace has gone from maroon shirts to what? Like Mormon beekeepers. Like, the only people that she has not blamed is Scientologists. Why? Because of John Mapp and her handler. That's my argument, because I do believe that is her handler. She's not going to touch them, but it's amazing that she has blamed every other group except for the Scientologists, when they're Scientologists on Turning Point's board as well. And Scientology is very similar to the LDS. You know, it's alien cargo cults. Why don't you talk about it, Candace? Because you're not allowed. Do something edgy for once in your life.
Man, the CIA hat was enough for me, if I'm being honest. And
that's just her being an asshole. When I see that and the cup, it's just her being an asshole.
It kills me inside. But yeah, you see how they're spinning this off of the back of this strange meeting that, by the way, breaking news, Candace survived this unfortunate Israeli lemonade poisoning plot that she was facing. That was the funniest thing ever. But yeah, I mean, what did they do? They instantly try and spin this as the actual context of the text that was received from Colvette and Dan Flood the night before through Telegram or whatever, WhatsApp or whatever, Signal or something, that he was worried the left was going to kill him. So now you have a partisan angle. Like, that's what they're doing, it feels like. You're getting what you want out of this one way or the other. And that alone raises all the red flags, should give everyone pause. Take a moment, reflect on the source at the very least, and focus on the ball, like you were saying. I mean, it really does apply. And also, I think it was hilarious to see her call Tim Pool gay. I mean, that in itself was I appreciated, but still, it's like, what are we watching here? It's the smoke and mirrors effect, and the Candace Owens coattails effect as well, which is so many people falling into that camp as far as just deliberately creating thumbnails that have Candace involved and things like that. That not saying that's the only reason, obviously, but I'm just mentioning the notion of, she is clearly, when you're getting the spotlight and the algorithmic
catnip for grifters. Catnip for grifters.
What it is, man, and it's gross. It's absolutely disgusting to me. But I will say, when it is important and it applies in terms of the overall effect of the what feels to me like the ultimate social engineering aspect of the agenda at large, right? That these influencers are playing into on each side of the political spectrum. And I still very much do believe that this will ultimately end in affecting censorship online, as you had mentioned earlier. I don't see a way around them not exploiting that to their advantage and leveraging that to their own benefit. And so, but I don't know. Just seeing these ridiculous what she's trying to save face by claiming that Erika sort of agreed, or at least kind of confirmed that she had effectively misrepresented the truth as far in terms of those text messages, because she didn't realize it wasn't the iMessage text that he had sent those just those messages of concern regarding his safety the night before. So that, but then to me, it felt like Erika Kirk she's also probably attempting to do some sort of damage control as far as her handlers after this Barry Weiss scam. That didn't go very well as far as I'm concerned. And I read a report about Barry Weiss. Basically, it was something to the effect of the viewership was at an extreme low in regard to I don't know what they were comparing the numbers to, but it was apparently in context of Barry Weiss's first appearance as the leading representative of the media establishment she's working for, and they have these plummeting numbers. And so it was just a kind of a negative window into how that landed publicly. And so that alone feels like they have to usher in some sort of damage control in a way. And maybe this Candace meeting was not only damage control for her image, but also for Erika, and could have just been very much by design. At the end of the day, it feels like it's plausible, but I don't know.
There was no other way. There was no other place for Candace to take it. Here's the thing. Like, I don't even watch her show. I've watched probably, and this isn't me like bragging that I don't watch her show. I just don't. And so I've caught maybe 10 to 15 minutes max, and part of that was just me like getting clips. And you know, it's her with the duper's delight when she has Alex Jones on and he's talking about the incident in Newtown, and you know how Adam Lanza was an intern for the CIA, and she's just got this shit-eating grin on her face, and she's like, "What? I've never heard of this before." And I'm like, "You motherfuckers!" Language.
Yeah, that's where she feigns shock. It's like the most crazy. Like what?
Exactly, and it's like
you really have to watch it. It's really exactly like that.
He's lying. He's lying, and he knows that he's lying. He knows that he's misrepresenting the information. He's continuing his shitcoat campaign, and it's like, the only natural conclusion of the clips, thankfully, her fans are freaking rabid and they post all over X, so I don't have to watch it. So I can see these little clips of what the lead is or what the day's lead is, because she's running all over the place. And it's like, the only natural conclusion of this is that it's going to go full hoaxer. And I don't think that she can do that. I don't think that that's allowed, you know, because it's going to put her into a corner. And I think that this whole thing was by design. I don't know how far maybe they had intended to let it go. I mean, I appreciate people saying that, you know, I affected that timeline in some way. I mean, look, there are a lot of people that her fans that have warmed up to me that have gone back into my old live streams, and they're like, "Oh, you've been saying fake and gay since before she even started her podcast." And I'm like, well, I didn't want to be petty, you know, and can I prove it? No, but it is what it is. You know, it's what's going to happen next. I have no idea, because, you know, it's what's going to be the focus now. I mean, Candace is going to have to agree with, she's either going to have to totally smear Erika, right? Or she's going to have to agree. And, you know, there's these accounts on X, because I like to say everything starts on Twitter. And that's why I love your morning show, because it's like, that is where shit starts. And then it slowly moves on to the other platforms. I've noticed it as well. And there's people that are like, Mikey McCoy was quietly removed from the website of Turning Point. And it's like, no, he wasn't. He was doing interviews right after Kirk died, where he had stepped away. That makes sense to me, because he's in his early 20s. He was working for Kirk since he was 18 years old. That kid is probably fucking traumatized. He immediately walked away from that situation. But do you know who was removed within the past 48 hours that nobody has talked about? And I think that these other accounts are shitcoding with Mikey. Rob McCoy. Rob McCoy is no longer affiliated with Turning Point in any way, shape, or form. And I think that that's much more telling, because I think that there is a good argument to be made that if Kirk is not on a Witsec fuck shack island with Epstein and Tupac, that he was probably electrocuted. I think that that's what happened. And apparently, Jose,
Whoa,
from
no,
what you told me,
no.
she
Candace
poo-pooed that.
assured us we're good. That's not a thing. Someone told her that they said, "Hey, shut it down." I mean, they said no. We saw the hands; they're fine. They were perfectly stiff and plastic, and they had shrunk to the size of Eric's, because that's what happens with corpses. You know, all the moisture evaporates and you kind of shrink, like, you know, those little things you put in water and they fill up, but the opposite.
Yep.
You know, what is it, like 90% of the body's water or some shit like that, I think they say. So yeah, it totally checks out. Makes sense. You shrink. There's a little shrinkage after death. So yeah, I don't think anyone should forget too. This all started with her whole career started with race grifting. From one to the other was what with the race scams, which is funny. We were talking about the Bondi Beach stuff, and we literally called it Australian Gladio an episode before it even really was a full on thing, just because it was super obvious that it was like fake anti-Semitism going on in Australia. There was insane reports on it over and over and over and over again that we were covering, and lo and behold, we see a very similar pattern play out at the beginning of Candace's start, which wasn't like two separate things too or something, and then she made I think what some people call her the N-word or something, and then she over at college, and then she created that doxing website after. So kind of yeah.
Allegedly, that lawsuit that was while she was in high school that her dad filed on her behalf, where the NAACP came and stepped in, from what I hear, that it was actually, she was trying to move in on this chick's old man, who was the son of the then Democratic governor of the state. And so that's why this whole thing blew up. And basically it was a cat fight that she spun into a race thing. So it would appear that it's grifting on its face. That's just what it seems to be. I cannot confirm or deny. Don't trust me on it. Don't take my word for it. I've just heard this. But I mean, she has that, and then there's actually a separate incident where it's one of the sisters that ends up getting in trouble. I didn't cover that because I'm not trying to air out this family's like dirty laundry. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Like, I'm trying to kind of stick with the facts, right? At least that are relevant without completely smearing these people. And then she does that weird social autopsy thing, which I feel like that's just something that a lot of people know about by now. You know, it's like, oh, she's a shit lib. And it's like, well, okay, I think politics are fake and gay, so I don't care if she's a shit lib. But, you know, we have George Webb, Mr. I work with the Mossad himself, coming into the conversation. Well, he slipped up the other day while he's out there going like, oh, we got our Candace watch party. So he's out there with his cell phone. I'm just regular George Webb, right? So he's sitting there talking and he's like, all these people are criticizing Candace because, she used to be a liberal. Well, the reason why I haven't been able to find anything on this hoe while she was at the University of Rhode Island is because she was working for the fucking Clinton Foundation, according to what she told George Webb. So let's put this into perspective, everybody. What I have confirmed, Dad running the security contracts for the not incident at Sandy Hook in Newtown at the exact same time that Candace Owens is working for the Clinton Foundation. Make that make sense.
All right, we have a caller here. I didn't even realize. Jacob's here. I'm assuming that means we got a caller. So, Jacob, I guess you got somebody join the show?
Yes, we actually have JJ Vance on the line.
Oh shit! I was just about to bring him up.
Dude. Well, let's fucking go, JJ. What's up, dude?
Yo, JJ. Can you hear me, brother?
Oh, howdy, gents. Howdy, Miss DooDah.
Hello.
Thank you, other JJ. I heard y'all talking ancient alien cargo cults, and my home county, my birthplace there of Fairfield County, Connecticut, specifically Sandy Hook, so I figured I had to chime in.
My God. So your ears were burning, basically, I would imagine. I was just about to bring you up
apparently for good reason, sir. You're about to bring me up, huh?
Dude, I'm telling you, I was going to ask Dana just about the notion that Candace Owens was managed basically by Tavistock, essentially at a certain level, and then kind of became a founding Freemason of Turning Point USA to a certain extent. But then I've seen you pushing back, claiming this is completely directly connecting into the Society of the Cincinnati, and that this Charlie Kirk saga, as I saw you put on Twitter, is far more connected in with the Society of the Cincinnati than it is necessarily the Freemasonic nature of some of these networks. I'm not necessarily entirely certain on that, but what are your thoughts, my friend?
That was not me. Because that is something that I have not fleshed out. JJ might know. I have not made any claims about the Society of Cincinnati.
Right. I've just seen them circulating, obviously, as far as the Freemasonic connection to Candace. But go ahead, JJ.
Well, I like your brain holes out there, AWP. I believe you saw some of my posts earlier today about the society. I have been making the same statements here since the event. Yeah, for sure. I look at it this way, I look at the society's use of the Freemasons no different than the use of the International Order of Oddfellows. So when they kidnapped the International Order of Oddfellows, kidnapped my grandfather, changed his birth certificate, put him in an orphanage, stole all my family lands. So that's not a Masonic conspiracy, right? That's an International Order of Oddfellows. But turns out it's really a society conspiracy operating through that organization. Or it's clandestine and secret nature already, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in regards to Kirk, yeah, all these ancient alien cargo cults sure seem to stick together, don't they? So we got Scientologists all around the situation, and we got the Mormon faction. So the Mormon situation, also an offshoot of the Society of Cincinnati. So the only fella to get live footage of the event was a fellow by the name of Adam. I don't forget the fellow's last name. He'll come back to me anyway. He's a paternal descendant of a general who was, a major figure in the society, and a lot of his descendants joined the Mormons. So there's a lot of Vances from the Pennsylvania contingent of Clan Vance and the Society of the Cincinnati chapter out of Pennsylvania. There's a lot of that contingent of Clan Vance also joined the Mormons. So there's this large Society of Cincinnati Mormon, crossover, and look deeper into it, it's because Joseph Smith himself was likely a member of the society. So his grandfather was a captain.
Say it ain't so, JJ.
Chapter, and that man's father was the man who plotted the Tea Party, not the original Tea Party, not the bullshit stuff in Texas in 2008.
Dude, I love you, JJ. I'm so happy you called in, man. The first thing that I thought of, and I'll make it short, but it's just I had mentioned it just briefly privately because I believe the Mormon Mafia plays far more of a pivotal role in some of the intelligence, just let's say domestic intelligence operations in this modern Gladio context. And I will say that really presented itself most in the Watergate series that Jose and I did in regard to Edward Bennett Williams and Robert Bennett and basically all these strange individuals who were surrounding that of Robert Mayhew, who Robert Mayhew was essentially running the
Frank, you can't leave the gay out.
You're right. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. But the main context there, the first place that I stumbled onto Robert Mayhew and his role as running this private security contracting organization to provide an intelligence cutout for the CIA to run domestic operations, while he also, I think, was a major key factor in the Operation Underworld, which was the naval intelligence alliance with that of the organized crime syndicates that were most prominent at the time. That of, let's say, Johnny Roselli, Santo Trafficante, Sam Giancana, all these various individuals that play prominent roles in this context, and like the 10 most powerful mafia members, let's say, all coalesced for a meeting with Robert Mayhew and these handlers for the intelligence apparatus at the time. And basically what they did is, and we've discussed this many times leading up to the JFK assassination, they really tasked Howard Hughes. Nixon himself called him and asked him to
there you go. Yep.
with plausible deniability by setting up all these domestic black sites all throughout the United States and training up these Cuban exiles, but then also not only to greenlight domestic operations and utilize them as assets, but they apparently, it's just fascinating because it looks like Robert Mayhew was the individual who actually got Athane Eugene Cesar's weapon that he used in the assassination of RFK. He's the one who actually got rid of it on behalf of the overall network. And so once again, just understanding that he plays a prominent role. And by the way, Jose might very much be affiliated, associated with the pink ballets of the Marc Dutroux scandal and be implicated in the Sicilian French mafioso connection with that of the French connection and the pizza connection and the heroin international distribution operation. That
was running out of the Iran embassy when Epstein was subletting that embassy out. Is that what you're talking about? That pizza connection, where the people who subletting out to was a lawyer for the fucking pizza connection, fucking heroin ring being run out of pizza whatever places. That lawyer, and that's not even. There's more to that fucking rabbit hole too. Some of the other weird glowies he was fucking subletting out to.
His mob boss clients were assassinated.
Nothing to see there.
Nothing to see. Those mob boss figures that he represented legally were assassinated in a major scandal of a priority targeted assassination, at least one of the two that were the most prominent he represented. So not at all. I mean, it looks like tying off loose ends in a way. But yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disrupt the flow of the conversation, but I just feel like it definitely applies as far as this hidden hand, this prominent hidden hand, and this very obvious footprint.
Does anyone know if this is legit? We have Jeff in the chat. I just saw this and it blew my mind since we were talking about Mormonism. He said, I toured Joseph Smith's the third house last year in Iamani, Iowa. So it's Joseph Smith the third. So I guess maybe that's not the original. I'm not sure which one is the one of the lore. But he said he had two children die in one day in separate incidents, if I recall correctly, which seems to be quite the coincidence. I mean, I don't know. You don't have a whole lot of kids usually.
No, that's a good comment because actually Joseph Smith's brother got murked days after he did. No one really talks about that. So Joseph Smith III took over what was known as reorganized LDS. Different faction. They're out of Independence, Missouri. They still exist today. They're the Community Church of Christ. I believe they're called COC. Their acronym. But it's interesting because if anyone's the paternal, member of the Society of the Cincinnati, it is his son, Joseph Smith III. So he's an important figure.
That's interesting. And two of his kids died in the same day from separate incidents. Completely normal.
Perfectly normal.
Dude, there's a lot of sketchy stuff around that whole Smith family like that for sure, dude, for sure.
I mean, I guess Crowley had similar shit. His kids were dropping like flies, so.
That's a good point. There's a lot of similarities between Crowley and Smith, and one person that brought that to my brain hole, inadvertently, I suppose, I guess, was the work of Damien Eccles. I was like, why does Damien Eccles venerate Joseph Smith and Aleister Crowley?
Checks out. That makes sense. I mean, we actually, funny enough, I just had we just covered West Memphis 3 on my show. This is the first I've dug into it. For those who are unaware, there's the three guys, the whole Innocence Project that they liked metal music and more scary band tees. And then these few kids died. What was it, like 8-year-old boys, I believe. Yeah. Brutally murdered and raped and tortured and like all sorts of craziness. And but no, they didn't do nothing. Despite the fact that like one of them had like confessed like to an absurd degree, like something like 8 times, and it's just bizarre how crazy guilty they are when you dig into it. And somehow over time the media apparatus got them off. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, go ahead. I apologize.
No, I was done.
I got a bad connection here, Bob.
Did the alien cargo
listen to you and.
JJ, the alien cargo cult.
If you look at
go ahead, I'll shut up. No, JJ's talk.
There's a delay, Austin.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that you can get real deep in the West Memphis situation, especially once you realize Damien Eccles' girlfriend was part of a vampire cult. I'm a vampire hunter. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with that.
No.
Oh yeah, baby. Fucking
not the
too
vice
bad they
president,
didn't
but
hunt
I'm
down the
also a
trench
vampire
coat
hunter.
mafia,
Hard
JJ.
time.
Too bad they didn't hunt down the trench
shit,
coat
that's
mafia.
we went full schizo on that, sir. We went full schizo on that Columbine situation. So I can bring this back around for you, gents, though, in the Mormons, the Society of Cincinnati, and even what you were saying before about Howard Hughes and the Mormon Mafia, which is where we get that term. So you look at somebody like Robert Mayhew, he's reporting to folks like J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI director. You know, he's a member of the Society of Cincinnati New York chapter. Wow. Then you look at somebody like Howard Hughes, he's a member of the Maryland chapter. His forefather, his membership was a general, is a chaplain for the Maryland chapter, a fellow by the name of Gano, Gano, his mother's surname. Sometimes the membership gets passed down to the mother. That happened with Winston Churchill. That also happened with JFK Jr. So JFK Jr., which he, you know, according to some folks, still alive, trust the plan. But he was a member of the Maryland chapter via his maternal grandfather, Jack Black Bouvier.
Wow.
So these things do happen in that regard.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Anyhow, so we get the term Glomar response, the we cannot confirm nor deny, from the USS Glomar incident, in which Bill Colby, you know, one of my favorite characters, the Bash at Operation GCD, was responsible on that mission, and it was a Howard Hughes vessel. You may be thinking, what do these two men have in common besides being Muppets? And Bill Colby's third great-grandfather, Colby, was a captain in the Massachusetts chapter of the Society of Cincinnati. So he's, in all likely probability, a member, the member.
Coincidence. This is what we're supposed to chalk it up to. Obviously,
totally normal. Nothing to see here, folks.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it was Howard Hughes gave Nixon's brother like a major bribe during his time as VP, I think, as well. But yeah, the Glomar response, I covered that. I forget which episode it was, but it was whenever I covered Bill Colby. It might have been the Operation Mockingbird episode. I can't recall. But either way, I'll never forget.
Yeah, Colby's a real Muppet, isn't he?
Oh, hell yeah. I'll never forget. What was it? They had allegedly, there was a submarine that had been struck, and there was a nuclear warhead that was submerged at the bottom of the ocean at this area. And essentially they were trying to keep it very much covert in their efforts to retrieve this nuclear warhead. And therefore, that is when the Glomar response was cultivated in order to deal with the press. And so essentially, that is when they came up with the response, we can neither confirm nor deny, and which makes sense. But yeah, Howard Hughes was very much involved in the retrieval effort, if I remember. But not at all surprised. It's the usual suspect.
No, you're spot on, sir. AWP, you're spot on.
Hell yeah.
All right, JJ, we've had you on for a little while. We'll have to move on to other callers or get ready for the intermission. I appreciate you coming on. We'll definitely have to get you on the show one of these days, and we'll have to come on yours. But go ahead, whatever you got to say, I'll let you go. I know we got a little bit delay here, but go ahead, bud.
No, go ahead. No, apologies. Yeah, no, I appreciate your time. I'll leave y'all with a question for Miss DooDah, and I'll listen all fair. But I appreciate your all time, gents, and I do tend to reschedule. I am currently on medical hiatus. Unfortunately, I got shot by lasers.
Oh shit, Ted! Oh man, the same lasers.
Fuck. Fucking the same lasers that got Ted. So I'd like to hear Miss DooDah's theories on what did occur at Sandy Hook that day. I'd also like to hear Miss DooDah's relationship status. Are you single? Have you gone for a furry? I'll take the
getting hot and already dead.
Somebody's getting brave on those pain pills.
I love it, JJ. Keep it coming, brother.
All right, JJ's blowing kisses your way. I don't know what's going on with that, but
I love it.
Okay, Poker Face is on. You guys can take.
Oh shit! Dana's ready to address the public. What do you have to say?
All right, so Handy Snook. What do I think? Well, here's the thing, and this is why, like, people have tried to gaslight me with, her dad's resume. It's in charge of the contracts, right? So he's head of the contracts. This is the thing. That has been such a sticking point of proof of what happened that day. I'm not saying that he worked at the damn school. He didn't say that either. He said during tragic loss of life. Now, whether something happened at that school or not, who really knows? But we do know that there were FEMA employees at a bare minimum that were there that day. Department of Homeland Security, they were there that day, boots on the ground. So if he was just managing daycare and childcare centers, which was the primary thing that he was doing with commercial real estate in New York and Connecticut prior to that, he still knows what was going on, period, because we've never seen proof of any contracts of any kind. That is one of those situations that people think that you're cold-hearted if you ask questions. I think that something happened. I don't know that
you can speak plainly, by the way. Not that.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
just to be very clear. I mean, I don't know about you, Austin. I know me and you speak freely. We're like, whatever. We get a strike. We get a strike. Okay, so like, I have a Rumble channel. So whatever. Like,
cool. Then I'm gonna tell you guys, I don't buy that. Like, it was all pulled out of whole cloth. I just don't buy it. I don't fucking buy it. What
Really?
I think is that I don't because
don't break my heart, Dana.
Well, people say that
No,
school was closed down. They say that, but I want to see proof of that because I've seen photos of that one kid that, and this is actually thanks to Jolly and Klebold, a real one. I'm sorry, like whatever he did, I don't fucking care. That dude was
free my nigga.
But yeah, exactly, free my boy. Like he had shared the article where that kid said that he was clairvoyant, right? And so like he didn't want to go to school. There's photos of him
Red flag.
within that age group where he's outside of the school. He was a student at that school. So I've never seen proof that the school was shut down. I think that that's a shitcoat angle. And I think that part of that is from these other researchers. I'm not going to name names, but George from CavDef makes a really strong argument that some of those people that they are that they were working for, you know, some form of intelligence in one way or the other. I don't think that the school was shut down. I think that we know that they were doing a drill, but they were doing an exercise that was listed on the fucking website for like the town. I think that something went really wrong. I think that it was the two brothers. I'm not going to name them, but one of the brothers just got arrested, actually got sentenced for going on a mass murder spree across 3 states.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so the two brothers that everybody said that they thought were the main suspects, one of them is now in prison for life for murdering a few people and kidnapping a woman and holding her against her will and threatening to kill her. So for all you conspiracy theorists out there, you guys won. Congratulations. I have nothing to offer you, but at least you can feel it in your heart. I think that people seized on the moment, and I think that something went wrong, and I think that whatever families may or may not have been involved, I think that they were paid very handsomely or they were threatened. I think that there was too much overkill with the media getting involved. Like, I think that the whole exercise angle speaks to why we see these irregularities with like I can't remember, she was a teacher or a principal or something, and like she was one of the victims, right? But like there was an article where she had been talking about the event that was posted like a day or two before it actually happened. There's a lot of weird things. I think that speaks to the depth of these drills that they go into where they do involve the media, because they do involve mainstream media and local news media in these drills of how to handle these things in a crisis. And so I think that shit hit the fan. Don't know who died. I don't think that Adam Lanza is an AI creation out of whole cloth. I think that he was a real person. But if any of the Lanzas were involved, I think it was his older brother. I think that they got the right guy the first time. That's what I think. And I would love to see bodies. But guess what? You know, we haven't seen anything from Kirk either. And now we have fucking Milo coming out saying that like Kirk's not buried. And, you know, it's like, I'm sorry, but Milo, you've gone soft in your Elder Queen era. Like, tighten it the fuck up, because now he's sitting here taking back what he said about George Farmer. Like, I didn't mean to say that he was gay. And it's like, bitch, yes, you did. Stand on business. Say it with your chest.
Right.
You say it about everybody else. But he's saying that, Kirk's not buried. Eric is saying that they're like waiting to build some big mausoleum. And can't we just have one thing that people are going to disagree? Boo, 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 boo. And it's like, how long do you need? I get it. There's no like timeline of grief. I'm not sitting here giving her grief about that, but I'm sorry. She's been acting weird. People are tired of it. People are tired of the way that all these people have been behaving. If you guys would act normal for 5 seconds, maybe everybody would calm down. And it's the same thing with Sandy Hook. If people would have acted normal for 5 seconds, maybe the public would have calmed down. But it's very clear that both of these situations, in their own ways, in different ways, there are parallels. There's too many questions.
Mm-hmm. And I'm genuinely convinced. I think that the plan, I do think, just reading the tea leaves, I think had things, but because when I say this, there's always the plans. So there's the ideal plan of the powers that be. I think sometimes there's what happens. They have to, kind of things ebb and flow slightly, so they have to make audibles as things go on. But I do really feel like my impression was they were going for the Sandy Hook Redux. We're going to go hard in the paint. And I just really feel like it kind of just wasn't working. Kind of like I made a lot of parallels between the pipe bomb story when I had you on my show, and they actually did end up kind of falling through. They were seeming to lean hard into that, and then then all the reporting kind of slowly like, oh, this is bullshit. It kind of lost its steam. It seems like probably so they had to change. They kind of did whiplash and pull it the other way with that Norbit looking motherfucker they have now. But so it's I think it's a
Jose. That now that you mentioned this motherfucker. Brian Cole Jr. is his name, and you guys don't let me forget before the show ends to briefly describe what a My Little Pony brony is and how it applies to that of Brian Cole Jr., our new patsy in the J6 a false flag pipe bombing incident. So yeah.
To be fair, I checked those out and they're adorable. So I don't know.
Hey brother, no, but I'm telling you, the overlapping nature of the trans-free fetish of these false flag patsies, it's too much, man.
Yeah.
And it's something worthwhile. I have to at least briefly read his from his graphic novel. It's the funniest.
Oh, you found his novel? That's cool. I found his little doodles, which I was like, they're actually kind of adorable. They're like legit the kind of stuff that I'd be like, if I was looking at it and my kid was like, look at this cute, like my little girls. But I'm like, I don't like get into it like that, but like just for like, oh, you like this to my kids, that'd be about it. But yeah, we're at about an hour now, and we normally take intermission around this time, go hit the bathroom, do whatever. We'll be back here in a minute for the second half of the show. We'll bring on patrons if for those of them who want to come up and talk to Dana, or, ask questions, field calls with us. The phone lines will still be open, so you can go ahead and call during the intermission. Think of whatever you want. But enjoy this beautiful bean footage that our beautiful producer Jacob put on. I'm sure it'll probably be topical, and we'll be back talking about fruitcakes, getting audited by Scientologists, and all sorts of weirdness. But we'll be back in a few. Go grab a snack, do whatever you gotta do. We'll see you guys here in a couple minutes. Ted in the chat, Fed jacketing Wendy for some reason. I don't know why. I think we addressed recently. Like, you said something about thinking that she went easy on Jolly West, when I'm like, I don't at all think she went easy on Jolly West. I don't understand how you would get that takeaway, but I'm all for hearing why Wendy's a Fed or something. I don't think that, but I mean, if you read Aberration, the Heart Ran the Real, it's a holy fuck. It's kind of a goddamn I don't know what's the word for a tome on the evils of the state. So I really don't know how you get that from that. I don't think I've seen a more complete description of some of the crazy MK Ultra techniques and technologies and stuff like that from a factual type perspective. It will kind of fucking blow your mind. But I don't know. I'm open to hearing something that says otherwise.
I did see, he also had mentioned earlier, just as the show was beginning in the chat, I think it was Uncle Ted that had mentioned the files being moved from a federal building in Arkansas to that of the Murrah building.
Yeah,
and that is interesting. And it was something I desperately wanted to include in my episode of OKC.
But you couldn't find anything on it, could you?
That was it.
Or scant. That's the thing. People always bring up this, like, these papers, or I don't know about the specific Mina angle he's going, but it's like, Yeah, but
What
I
I
can never
found-
find anything to support it. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. All that I did find were allegations that were unsubstantiated, unfortunately, and that's what we're relying on. Man, the way it falls perfectly in place with the potential formula, absolutely, it's worth considering. Especially the notion is that the Whitewater investigation was happening at the time, because the Whitewater scandal was there was an Senate investigative committee, I think it might have been House, I don't know, select investigative committee from Congress was essentially formed to investigate the Whitewater scandal and the Clinton connection in Mena, Arkansas, and Iran-Contra, and all of this.
Go into the Capitol building, stand right in the center of the rotunda, and look straight up at the dome where nobody ever looks. What do you see? You see the apotheosis of George Washington, riding across the heavens in the chariot of Apollo. Who's Apollo? George Washington, who's become God now. Around the perimeter of the Capitol dome, you see all the old gods of the Roman pantheon. They're all there. Zeus, Mercury, Prometheus, all of them. What's that doing on the inside of our Capitol dome if this country is a Christian nation? Can you tell me that?
Plaintiffs accused Trump of grooming the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit, specifically an unnamed minor on whose behalf the lawsuit was filed starting in 1998, which is very strange because it happens to be the exact same year the plaintiff was born. So The only thing that I can think of where that would effectively apply is some sort of breeding experiment, right?
Well, that was fucking sick.
Dude,
That's actually that makes
Stevie
for
cut was fucking fire. Where he's like, yeah, Stevie could see. He sees that fucking hit coming. That was awesome.
No, I do think that makes for a great insertion point. That I think kind of ties all this together. I mean, you've been digging as of late into the Kirk stuff, the Candace stuff. Like we've been talking about, and we talked about the Mappin connection, which I don't know if we said explicitly in this episode, but he was in Epstein's Black Book, and it's funny in that the edit we just watched there towards the end, they were kind of talking about the Epstein stuff, kind of making the connection to the Edge Foundation, which reminded me that that's how this kind of comes back full circle. With your research is the influence of Epstein, and oddly enough ties into some of the odd figures that rear their face in Processian type stories. So I don't know if you want to make that explicit for the audience, to kind of how we kind of have the Ouroboros here, essentially a snake eating itself, kind of coming back to Epstein over and over again. But I don't know if you want to kind of make that thread from the Edge Foundation, and kind of to make that explicit for the audience particularly.
Sure. So, I like to call myself the original host of the Paul Krasner Player Haters Ball. So I've been shitting on Paul Krasner for a few months now, but he was a part of the Reality Club, which was the predecessor to the Edge Foundation. And in the recent email dump, this House committee where they released all this stuff, there was a lot of really nasty correspondence between Krasner and Epstein, so this doesn't surprise me. But Paul Krasner is obviously hailed as this sort of counterculture goofball, prankster, satirist. He's the founder of The Realist. Many people know him that way. And he kind of pushed Mae Brussel, and I think that he targeted her, honestly, in my opinion. I'm softening up to Mae for anybody who's gonna just lose their minds over that. I think that he absolutely targeted her, though. And it shouldn't surprise people because it's who they associate with, I mean, people don't understand that when you actually read his writings, The Realist was a propaganda mouth tool for his homie, George von Hilsheimer, who was working for Operation Paperclip. And what they were using this for, it was for Green Valley School, which was one of the lesser known, I would say, but confirmed, satanic ritual abuse or satanic ritual murder and abuse in Florida, where this cult that they were harboring in this school, they murdered one of the students for going to the cops. George von Hilsheimer bought a gun for a couple of students, actually, and one of them did kill themselves. They were torturing kids and filming it. They were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So, I mean, you have to look at who these people's friends are. And I don't give everything a pass of satirism. That's just not how that works. That's too easy to say, oh, everything that I'm writing is fucking satirical. And it's like, well, I'm looking at Ed's files and you're talking a lot about spending time with Squeaky Frome and other members of the family and wearing Charlie's vest and taking acid and, all kinds of weird shit. And so I'm, like I said, for those that thought that I was going to hate on May forever, I'm warming up to her slowly. I still think she's a bit of a limited hangout, but I'll come around eventually, I think.
Many such cases. Shy, you're on the show. You got any questions for Dana or anything to add to the conversation, or you just want to hang out while we maybe field some calls and shoot the shit?
What's going on, guys? No, I wanted to add my little 2 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think me. I've stated on here before that I don't think any of this is organic, and these are factions vying for power, and I wanted to ask and add a little bit of things that like I'm kind of just been perking on my ears, but with like the snake eyes theory, and seeing that movie was made all the way in like it was released in like 98, written in like 96. Something like that. I don't know. To me, it's just way too many coincidences with that. And for that to be so far back, to see that, to try and entertain the idea that maybe this is something that was planned for a very long time. Charlie Kirk was only born a few years before that movie was written. So maybe, I don't know. I also I find it suspicious that, I've never seen really anyone authentically, at least in my eyes, mourn over Charlie Kirk. I haven't seen that yet. I don't know if you guys notice anyone that you would say would really be like authentically. I don't know. It seems like the Candace and Erika thing are like two actors, and one is pretty good and one is really bad.
I will give you real quick on that. The only person I even know of that I can think of that was even tangentially connected to him that I felt like had an organic reaction was Dave Smith, because I did notice he did seem a little rattled by after some of this. But I mean, given the context, he had recently destroyed Josh Hammer, and it was shortly a lot of people were attributing that to kind of like that was the final straw. So I see why he was like, oh fuck. But everyone else who was kind of close to him, maybe I know that everyone does weird things during grief or whatever, but I never got a genuine feeling from anyone. Obviously, that's just my feeling. Maybe it was genuine, but my read on it didn't feel genuine. So to back up your point, Shy, but go ahead.
So like I mentioned, the Catholic angle a few times with Candace talking a lot about, I'm a old school conspiracy theorist. I'm way back with it, and so I'm just kind of looking what's going on with the Catholic Church. Like the Ring of Power, you have the Vatican, the three nation states, the Vatican, London, and DC. So I'm just looking and seeing what's been going on and just trying to connect things. I noticed that like we had that one Pope, Pope Paul. He was in there for like ever. He was there for like all the time when I was a kid. He was there forever. And then we had two other popes that kind of came in and came out pretty quick. And it seems like, I don't know, just maybe that they're trying to get a new pope at this time. And then the new pope took on the name Leo the 14th. I was wondering, why Leo? Like, why the lion now? Why are we getting the lion? The conquering lion. And so the other day, and it's interesting, I'm big on synchronicity. So the fact that during the intermission, Jacob had William Cooper. So like a week ago, I was like, let me listen to some old William Cooper. And he's just happened to mention Pope Leo the 13th and what he was big for. And what he is known for is like purging the Catholic Church of Masons. He wrote this big thing of showing like identifying Masons and purging them from the church. So I'm just seeing like these, and they recently had a new saint, that they made a couple years ago. He's a very young kid that died, but
real quick, which Pope was it that you're talking about? Can you say that again? Because I wanted to look up what time frame that was when they're trying to purge the Masons. Because obviously the Masons played a big part in Gladio, so I was kind of thinking like time frame wise. Who did you say that was again?
Pope Leo the 13th. So the new one is the 14th, the one before him. And he said that when I looked it up, because I was wondering, do they pick their name or are they given their name? But it is documented that he had affection for that pope.
Interesting. By the way, I looked it up. He was from 1878 to 1903. So I doubt it was. I mean, they would have preceded Gladio. So I was just curious, the timing wise in relation, because obviously the lodges, the Masonic lodges, played a huge part in and the Catholic Church. So they were kind of working all pretty incestuously in tandem with that and the Mafia. And some other nation states. So yeah, I was obviously that when they were trying to purge the Masons mattered. Obviously, he seemingly failed. So yeah,
it seems like the battle's still going. If you see the number 33 has been thrown around a lot.
Oh shit, it's all over the place right now, huh?
And one thing interesting, one thing I have a lot of things in my head just running around, but one while it's here that I just recently learned that there's an alternate ending to Snake Eyes. And in the alternate ending, it takes place in Atlantic City. So it's like a Sin City, right? At the end of the movie, a tidal wave comes in and takes everybody out. Just cleanses that whole bitch. Just a fucking whole baptism for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And the main character, Nicolas Cage, who is a crooked cop in the beginning. He's a crooked cop, but he's the survivor of the tide, so he's washed over and he's cleansed of his sins. It's a very, very Catholic themed.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because with Mappin in particular, because I think a lot of people give Candace a pass on the whole Catholic thing, right? Like, so she married into this farmer family. She's immediately already, inducted into the peerage. That's a lifetime thing. And, I think it's a bit of a stretch to say it's directly to the royal family, but it is still an arm of that sort of faction, right? But as a Catholic marrying into the peerage, she does have the protection of the Vatican. And then we have John Mappin, who is this very high-ranking Scientologist. People think I'm crazy for pointing out the Scientology angle, but John Mappin, the only tweet that motherfucker has deleted this entire time is the tweet where I call him out because he said that Candace helped him become a better Scientologist by teaching him and helping him understand Catholicism. So for me, I sound like the crazy old school conspiracy theorist, and I'm still very new to the game, so to speak, of this whole one religion type thing where they're trying to just blur the lines of all of this. And I think that there is a lot of like
the Opus Dei type shit where you get to this is some sort of feminist, fucking, goddess worship type cult actually and type deal.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of factional bullshit where they're trying to sit there and he's like, well, I'm a Christian Scientologist, and it's like, well, that doesn't comport with reality. Like Christianity and Scientology on their face don't really comport. But then him also saying it's like, well, if she helped you become a better Scientologist by teaching you about Catholicism, did you help her become a better Catholic by teaching her about Scientology? And did she hold on to the cans? I'm very curious if you audited her. I think that it's an important distinction. I'm just glad that you brought it up, Shayu One, because it's something that I'm always keeping in the back of my mind. Because again, do I think that French leaders are going to put out a hit on, the honorable farmer's old lady? No. And I also think that they're not going to allow that because she has the protection of the Vatican. I'm sorry. It's different over there in London. It's different in the UK when it comes to the Catholic Church. That's really their main source of power.
By the way, we have pulled up now. You mentioned Snake Eyes. We were talking before the show. I guess apparently, I thought you guys, I think maybe I misheard you guys, but you guys said Erika Kirk was in thing. But I guess Erika Kirk was in this country music video that kind of ties into, we were talking Snake Eyes, the predictive programming, kind of the weird, which is that movie with Nicolas Cage and some of the weird parallels between that and the Kirk shooting. There also was Erika Kirk was in some weird country music video, which if you watch, there's also, people get pretty schizo and point some of the weird stuff in there. Apparently Candace Owens was also in a rap video. I don't know to what degree that really, if there's any predictive programming here, but I figured it'd be fun to watch it. We were talking about before the show, but yeah, let's I know, Austin, I think you watched it already, and any thoughts on this? I guess it's only 20 seconds in here, but I don't know if you have anything meaningful to add to it. If it's just watch her in a rap video, I don't know.
Yeah, it is basically that. And but I will say that I think her manager was like an Israeli pornographer, so in no way is this surprising. And I'm just
you repeat yourself.
Yeah, well, Did you ask me to repeat myself?
No, I was fucking with you. You said Israeli pornographer. Yeah. I said you repeat yourself.
yeah, no shit, dude. But yeah, as far as the Snake Eyes connection to the kind of revelation of the method aspect of things, it is interesting. It's a Brian De Palma film. He's an interesting director as it is. But yeah, I don't know. When you see it was Charles Kirkland, I think, was the individual who was shot in the neck in the film, and it was at some kind of boxing event. I think was
Tyler the Executor.
Yeah.
September. I'm pretty sure it says September 19th, but people say it's September 10th. But still, 1 and 9 is 10. So
yeah, exactly. And I do think it's very interesting. Tyler Robinson, 33-day manhunt. That interesting occult connection to the symbolic nature of things. And I'm never, let's just say, unwilling to consider the notion that applies. Just considering the ultimate evil, really, Maury Terry is the one who convinced me of that, just as far as the potential layered connection to the occult symbolic nature of an actual let's just say the subconscious method of having individuals within the public consciousness participate. And I think that alone, whether it applies to the overall agenda at large, or it's just a way to misdirect the public and muddy the waters in terms of their interpretation of things and discredit these angles and windows into the credibility of the evidence being presented, I think that all applies. But this specifically just screams to me that she was always, let's just say, a potential asset, and she was, yeah, and definitely. But more than likely, it feels like she was groomed for this role, and that applies very much to AOC, in my opinion. So many of these prominent personalities in the political theater. It perfectly applies, and this just echoes that sentiment. So play it, dude. It's crazy, man.
By the way, real quick before we do play, it does say in the caption that apparently that in the end video, the end result, Candace actually gets cut out of this, except for, I guess, a part where he clips her chin, which we haven't watched this yet, so bear that in mind as we watch it. But let's go ahead and play. Her chin and
That's all it is, dude.
A little bit.
They just keep replaying that part.
When she has her head down.
She's an extra. She's an extra. Yeah.
Young Steph from Professional. But yeah, she did used to show up. People always share around that one picture of her, like the acting thing or whatever the hell. Like she's just a character that she got cast, essentially. Any thoughts on this, Dana? I don't really know what to make of it. I mean, does this track with what you've looked into her, or does this? I mean, I guess that could just be some chick who looks like her. I don't know. Has it been
no, it's not
anywhere?
I've seen a lot of comments, and people could try to pull, like, I don't like to say race, I like to say ethnicity. It's just more historically accurate. People are like, oh, are you saying all black people look alike? No, the fuck I'm not. I'm the one that found her dad's Instagram where he's out there looking for some snow bunnies trying to get laid, right? I've seen all of these photos of her family. That is absolutely her, 100%. And it just goes to show that because she has stated in past interviews through this research, I've had to sit here and, kind of sort out these different timelines and narratives that she stated. She's always wanted to be in the spotlight. She's always wanted to leave a mark in the culture, and she's never stated one way or the other what that is. And I think that this is just an example of that. And no, I'm not saying all black people look alike. That is absolutely fucking her, 110%.
For sure. And Did you see that hilarious kind of AI generated video that was her response to the "I survived the meeting with Erika Kirk"? I thought that
Yeah.
was the funniest thing ever, man. Honestly, it was hilarious. And but then seeing her response to, "You guys told me not to drink the water, so I didn't drink the water." I mean, it's legitimately the reason that it hit home so well is because she was clearly suggesting the idea that she would be potentially poisoned while meeting with Erika. But it's just too funny to me that anyone has actually bought in to this performative pageantry that she is very much wielding to her own benefit. But also you have the average individual who seems to me, now I will say, probably more politically, ideologically, let's say leftist in a way, but at the same time, their reaction to this is pure escalation in terms of over emotional, heightened state of mind, interpreting Candace's role here, and that is probably by design, because it's effectively achieving at every level what I believe the agenda is intending to achieve, and so it's difficult for me to dismiss the notion that any of this is, because honestly, the idea that she was in a hip hop video and just a kind of extra actress that took an acting gig, and who knows, maybe she personally knew the hip hop.
It's not hard to get on the set of a music video. They'll just call
Probably
people
not,
Especially if you're a hoe.
yeah, man. For sure, but yeah, I don't know. It feels all too convenient in this current moment that I feel like the vast majority of what we're witnessing is definitely damage control while currently escalating the culture war. So I don't know. I hold none of these prominent personalities as valuable in our current environment, and if anything, obviously they're a complete and total detriment, and intended to be so, and placed in that position for the very reason. So you had mentioned earlier the notion that this is the vast majority of what we're seeing here is just seems like theater in a certain sense, and that applies perfectly to that of the brief moment during COVID where we caught a window or a glimpse into the true nature of how they coexist. And we saw Kamala Harris, I've referenced this many times, pull the mask down after they thought the cameras were off, and she goes over to Lindsey Graham, and they have this one-on-one dapping each other up. A great performance, guys. That is what we're dealing with here. And even when Trump was officially elected in 2016, what happened? He brought all the usual suspects into the same exact I forget where exactly the event was where they were basically celebrating his victory. But who did he bring in? He brought in Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, all these various usual suspects, and he points to them and has them stand up as the entire crowd gives them a standing ovation, because without them, he would never have been able to achieve this or be in this position. It's just ridiculous to me that anyone buys these disputes at face value and puts any I don't know, just
celebrating a 33-year anniversary of 9 people being dead. 33 years.
33 years. And I just my cousin, he hit me up, he sends me a message. There's this guy who is from my hometown, this very small rural community in Northwest Arkansas called Gravit. And legitimately this dude who's the son of one of the most prominent individuals in town, who basically is providing insurance to the vast majority of the people in the community, who has a business on Main Street. His son worked for Disney for 30 years, comes back home, and then faces 33 counts of child pornography and child sex abuse. And this is in my hometown. And my cousin hits me up with this, and I just realized how prominent and just so much.
Losing my fucking mind,
man. Honestly, I feel like you got to take a moment and appreciate the better things in life, and that's something that, man, I'm telling you, I was walking the other day, I looked up, I saw the sun, a clear sky, palm trees. I'm like, man, I need to be more grateful. like legitimately, I need to appreciate things more and just realize the position I'm in. Stop internalizing pressure in a negative way. Like I need to, make the best of my opportunities as often as possible. And if you're not facing life with that sort of perspective, you get caught in the rat race. You get bogged down in these misrepresented what I described in the promo post for this episode, the deliberate deception that is employed and leveraged against us in these times of moral crisis. And my God, does that not apply in every way to these people like a Candace Owens, who will just entirely misrepresent what we just endured as a population in terms of the emotional reaction to these strategies of tension that loom large in the background, leading us to this just dystopian ultimate. I don't know. The FEMA camps are looking much more real to me. That is all I will say. And I don't mean to get schizo, but I love you guys, man. And I legitimately appreciate this opportunity, that we get to come together and consider ideas in an objective way without completely condemning and judging each other for having a difference in opinion or whatever the case may be. And man, again, Dana, I said it earlier, but this is a beautiful thing. And I can't thank you enough for what you're providing, a service that is so necessary in the environment we reside in. Right. And so, yeah, my heart goes out to you because I know what it feels like when it legitimately affects you, just as far as your soul is kind of, in my opinion, I feel like it's on the table as far as being legitimately affected. And I've described it before. When you resurface out of the depths of a rabbit hole and you're trying to see the light again and adjust your eyes. You begin to prioritize and remember once more what is I think ultimately important. And so, I don't know. I didn't mean to disrupt the flow again, but I swear it's important. And so, I'm not at all surprised that this usual suspect was really probably ushered into a prominent position and utilized as a strategic asset to deceive us deliberately. And it's very upsetting. You should take that as an insult to your intellect and don't fall victim to that playbook again. And going forward, remain skeptical and dig those feet in and just remember who you can and cannot trust, because the discernment process matters more than anything. And anyway.
All right, Shy, we're gonna let you go. We've had you here for a while, and we're gonna bring on Jacob now. There was something we want him to tell us about earlier. Any final thoughts before we let you go, Shy? And then we're probably gonna start bringing this show start wrapping here to an end here soon. Be respectful of Dana's time. But any final thoughts before we let you go, Shy? I appreciate you coming on, bud.
No, always a pleasure, guys.
Hell yeah, appreciate you supporting the show. Appreciate you, brother. You have a good one.
Peace.
See you, buddy. Jacob, we talked a little about the Bondi Beach stuff today, and you reminded me in the morning show today that we had talked about last week some satanic ritual abuse event that happened in Australia. So I'm wondering if we're gonna lay down another dot, and I guess it'll be up to you, the audience, whether you want to draw a line between those dots. But right. I'm a little curious if there might be lines worthwhile drawing between the two. So if you want to lay down that dot for us real quick, that'd be cool.
Yeah, sure. So real quick, before I move off of this, the reason I brought this news article up, because of the 33 years thing. But this event that took place in New York at City College of New York, this was organized by Sean Combs. This is the very first event where he got famous. So he got famous from 9 people dying. And this is allegedly the first sexual assault that he committed that he is actually still facing charges for right now. A woman brought charges against him, I think, earlier this year. But I just find it weird. This is like the first event he gets popular for. He never paid restitution. 9 people die. And they're celebrating 33 years. It's just like, what the fuck is going on? You know? It's just all the things like Austin was saying. Anyways, so Australia recently had this satanic ritual abuse case pop up. In fact, let's just pull up the CNN article, because this is one of the better articles, surprisingly. So there were 4 arrests over alleged international satanic child sex abuse material ring. 4 men had been arrested over their alleged involvement in an international satanic child sex abuse material ring, according to Australian police, who say they're still working to identify the victims. So from what I understand, these men, at least now, are not being charged with producing the material, but they were moving thousands of images and videos. Like it was disgusting, the amount that they were pushing. But what the police have said is that there were clear signs of it being tied to the occult and Satanism itself. For instance, thousands of videos were found on electronic devices seized during several simultaneous raids on properties in Sydney last week. Amongst these deplorable images were also a number of videos depicting the sexual abuse of animals. I mean, it goes hand in hand, you know, with all of this. It's always the sexual abuse of animal, the ingestion of excrement, and all of these other things. So, I mean, it has the hallmark of an actual satanic ritual abuse case. What was kind of interesting is that these 4 men were using a encrypted communication app to be able to spread this, but they were spreading the CSAM material all over the world. And so that kind of like complicates things like immensely for the police. So right here, police will arrange in court that this international group were engaged in conversations and sharing of material which depicted child abuse and the torture of children involving symbols and rituals linked to Satanism and the occult. I mean, it's just so blatant. There wasn't a whole lot of information, at least at this point. They had gone to court once, and this is actually one of the videos of the police raid. In fact, I think if I can find it real quick, I know I saved one of these videos of the actual police raid.
I have it as well. If you want me to pull it up, it's whatever. You can pull it up though.
Yeah, if I can't find it real quick, I'll have you pull it up. I've been on it like a saving fucking rampage because of all the things popping up lately. Let's see. No, it's not looking like I'm finding it. Super.
I got it right here, buddy.
Cool. Yeah, go ahead and get that pulled up. But before I remove this article real quick, officers can be seen using a battering ram to enter the apartment and are heard shouting police before taking a man dressed in a zebra print shorts and t-shirt into custody. Although
he looks kind of like Toad, Jacob. Be honest, he looks kind of like.
Yeah, totally.
Fucking got him finally.
But I don't think that's zebra print. That's a hypnotic swirl.
Dude, that's what we were saying last week. That looks like hypnotism, right?
Total
Yeah,
hypnotic
100%.
swirl.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to point that out. But I mean, it's just weird that this pops up, and then all of a sudden, not too long after, we have this huge world event which to me looks like a false flag. The Bondi Beach shooting looked like.
You know what I described it as? I called the Bondi Beach anti-Semitic ISIS-themed Gladio operation. That's
Right.
Definitely feels like it. You want me to play it?
Yeah, we could play this video, I guess, real quick, and then I think Dana wanted to go in the Delphi murders real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, you're speaking to me, Dana.
Police in Australia on an early morning raid, breaking down a door in a Sydney suburb and arresting the alleged 26-year-old ringleader of a group accused of being engaged in some of the most depraved criminal activity imaginable.
Police will allege in court that this international group were engaging in conversations and the sharing of material which depicted child abuse and the torture of children, involving symbols and rituals linked to Satanism and the occult.
A crackdown on an alleged international satanic child sex abuse material ring. In all, police arrested 4 men in and around Sydney, seizing multiple devices.
Police will allege in court that the initial examination of those devices has discovered thousands of videos depicting the abuse of live children aged between babies and 12 years of age. Amongst these deplorable images were also a number of videos depicting the sexual abuse of animals.
The suspects have all been charged with multiple counts of accessing or possessing child abuse content. They've been denied bail and are expected to next appear in court in late January. Australian authorities call the distribution of child abuse content a borderless crime that's growing thanks to the internet. They're working with other international law enforcement to help identify and rescue children shown in the seized content.
All right. All right, let's get rid of the
Sorry, dude. My bad. I didn't have it pulled up. Yeah, that's very interesting, right? And Jacob, we were just talking about last week privately when we were discussing this, the bestiality that you referred to. Right. And the what blew my mind of what you told me was that, right, they would inject the uterus of the pregnant mother and essentially traumatize the child. Right. This is prenatal trauma and abuse, essentially, is what they would utilize. And in terms of some MK Ultra playbook you were discussing, I think is what the context was. But yeah, I mean, talk about traumatizing an unborn child to then be primed and ready for dissociative identity disorder tactics and methods of some kind, and then also not only
totally makes sense, really. I mean, I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I think, not to get on a circumcision tangent, but I think there's something to that. Like, you're traumatizing a child at a very young age. I mean, how we talked about, actually, I had some pretty interesting comments. I was surprised. It seemed to ring true with a lot of people. I talked about, like, the abuse stuff from my childhood that happened. I thought about the time frame, and I was wrong. I think I said it was like 5 days. It should have been like 3 to 6-ish that would have happened for me. And so it makes sense that I had that weird kind of psychological reaction well into my early 20s from something that happened like 3 to 6, because you're so young. So it is like the earlier it is, probably, if anything, the more like this weird, disparate, like you have some odd thing going on. You can't quite explain it because we're at a point in your intellectual development where you didn't know what the fuck's going on. So, yeah.
It even starts earlier than that. Legitimate programmers, if they have the option to, they will start the trauma while the child is in womb. And so they'll torment the mother, and they'll do all sorts of terrible things. I won't talk about it here, but
it's called prenatal trauma is what they refer to it as.
It's really some god awful things. These people are monsters, and the cutoff age is 8 years old. Because at 8 years old, you are considered to be established as a person enough where your personality is not going to change and all of these other things. And so they want to start the abuse as early as possible. So it's some really, really disgusting things. And so it makes sense why this case over in Australia, why it's infants to 12 years old. I mean, that's like their key demographic for them.
Yeah, it's the window. And then you age out, essentially. That was the Detroit context of the network and how they abused the children. But Yeah, it does feel like at every level, this is perfectly in line with that of, let's say, an Anthony Kidman, right? These very prominent individuals who I think engage in the most sinister uh, um, techniques of child abuse, right? As far as all the allegations are concerned, and I do believe that there's no coincidence that Nicole Kidman happened to be the woman who was cast in Eyes Wide Shut. There's no way in my mind that was not by design, and
Oh no,
so yeah.
Kubrick is way too deliberate to not have done exactly what he did, and he chose Tom Cruise for a very specific reason.
Fucking A, he did. And by the way, I looked up that entire the Eyes Wide Shut mansion and the ball that they had in the film itself. And not only was it a Rothschild mansion, but it was very prominent. It was in at least involved in many different films, like I think even in The Mummy Returns and like fucking Batman Begins and shit. And beyond that, he was trying to depict the exact 1972 Rothschild surrealist ball is what he was attempting to present to the public. And I'm talking, we have I believe it was servants who were dressed as cats and dessert shaped like a nude woman. Right. And that instantly I thought of Marina Abramovich and the spirit cooking parties and yeah, I mean, how many times have we seen the Lady Gaga photos where she's sitting there looking down at the fake corpse allegedly that they're about to feast on, and that alone, beyond the symbolic nature of this specific property, I mean, this goes back to Meyer Amschel Rothschild. You know, so many different people own this property that were of prominent influence, and apparently even had to do with some sort of I think it was a French Jewish community president was involved as well, who was consequently compelled to step down from his position after being involved in this ball. So yeah, it's very interesting again that he would present at this very location the sequence of the masked ball in Eyes Wide Shut, obviously, and that you have Grace Kelly, who's at the ball. Man, don't get me started on the implications there, right? Obviously, she was involved with in the cult with what's her name? It was Joseph DeMambro and what was the other individual? The Order of the Solar Temple, obviously. But the point being, right? During her initiation, they have some sort of massage therapist who understands the right. Apparently, whichever spots in the body, I forget what they were attempting to achieve some sort of orgasm in the initiatory process, and that alone was interesting. But yeah, you had a connection to a woman who then became an actress in one of Stanley Kubrick's films, who attended that very ball in 1972 at the Rothschild property, the Surrealist Ball. She then becomes an actress in Kubrick's Lolita.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's just like after we watched that video last week privately and after the show, as far as just like the hidden narrator that was intended to be apparently intended to be written into and recorded into the Eyes Wide Shut film itself, and then Kubrick screaming at the producers and the individuals who affected the final cut. And that being verbally and vocally heard, apparently from people who were witnesses to that happening, and then within 4 days he's dead. And Tom Cruise has a very strange reaction to that as well. Now he could obviously be acting, as he seems to be in every other single instance that he makes a public appearance. But yeah, I don't know. We just have what did he say at the to LRH, you know? Right. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm very much definitely almost convinced at this point that Kubrick was legitimately killed to at the very least, you know, not as effectively expose the child sex mafia in the way that it truly functions. And
Right.
I definitely think that
I agree with that. I think he was taken out to shut him up. Period.
All right, let's get Dana in here. We're getting late in the tooth, and I think she might want to probably let's start bring it to a close. But I saw you interact with the chat, Dana. It seemed like you had some thoughts on the Delphi murders. So I don't know if something I don't know what made you think of that. I don't know if somebody in the chat was complaining or what. But I guess kind of final thoughts, since it seems to be you had a tangent you want to go on there. So floor is yours.
Multiple tangents. So one, in utero programming, there is a practice that a lot of people don't talk about, which was why I say Leah Remini is a total propagandist with her Scientology show, because there are Scientologists who audit their babies in the womb. Okay, and this is probably why John Travolta's son actually killed himself. That whole
They're
story is
electrocuting their child in the womb. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. They're holding onto the cans and they're electrocuting them. They're giving them low voltage ECT, trying to clear them in the womb. So there's that part. The reason why, though, I had thought of Delphi, because the prof, he's in the chat somewhere, and I try not to simp for anybody, but with all this shit going on, with all of these different cases, and specifically with this satanic case going on in Australia, people need to think about the stuff that's going on in the Delphi case right now. The prof is undisputed the top source on the information. He's the only person that I've seen that has progressed through the information and changed his perspective based off of the information as it becomes available. What is going on right now is a lot of people know about the Odinist angle to the case, right? That's something that was really big in the news. And I have seen the crime scene photos. Prof said it countless times when I was watching his videos, where he said, until you actually see the crime scene photos of those girls, you don't understand. And I went and looked for them. They're not hard to find. If you've seen True Detective season 1, it's the opening scene, but with little girls in the woods.
That's how I described it. I called my episode "The Real True Detective" when I covered.
It's literally that. There's other nods, like the things you're not allowed to talk about in Delphi, like the shack. There's a very similar shack in True Detective season 1. And I'm not saying that there's a correlation, predictive programming. I'm not arguing any of that. I'm just saying there's a very clear occultic nature, but it's back in the news again because a lot of people don't know, and this is something very important because it speaks to the intelligence community's connection to Delphi specifically, is that the original men who created that Odin report, as it's come to be known, one of those guys right now is being railroaded by the state of Indiana, and he's probably going to be tortured just like Richard Allen. And there was an FBI agent, Greg Ferenczi, who was assassinated in broad fucking daylight. And his
you don't buy the Molotov story. He's throwing him out.
Yeah, just chase him outside. And so there's that going on right now at the same time with Todd Click, one of the co-authors or co-researchers of this report, these investigators. This is all going on too. And then we have a lot of weird shit going on with the Daybell Vallow case. And there's a lot of weird tidbits of information that are starting to come out. And so I get that a lot of people don't view true crime and parapolitical as the same thing, but I think that Prof himself, with all of the work that he has done on Delphi, he's connected one of the fucking lawyers that is a very shady character and who shits on Rick Allen and Rick's wife, has connected him directly to the CIA and the Department of Defense through his family. And I'm like, oh, this is why these people have threatened this man's life. And he documents all of this stuff. He shows the receipts like me. So I think don't just pay attention. Go watch Rise to Liberty. Go watch Austin. Go watch Jose. Like, go check these people out. But specifically with Delphi, go watch prof, and then go take that information and look at these other cases and quit looking at it as just true crime, because there's a huge fucking Fed angle, because we have all of this weird stuff with this Odinist groups and these Odinist spinoffs. And I would like to point out to everybody, I have not talked about it yet, but I will be, because anytime I get an opportunity to shit on Lucy and Greaves, Doug, one-eyed Dougie of the Satanic Temple, I'm going to seize on it. He recently wrote an article in regards to the satanic ritual abuse case coming out of New Jersey that ties into the tri-state area. And in the title of that article, he talks about, oh, satanic panic is back and it has nothing to do with the Satanic Temple or 764 or 09A. So the Satanic Temple has officially endorsed 09A and 764. And I'm going to be covering that very soon, because me and a couple of other people have come across a brand new hive that is on YouTube right now of 09A. It's a very fresh channel. I'm trying to watch how it progresses, because the FBI is fucking useless and they're not going to do anything until a crime is committed. But I'm going to show all of this and put this all together. But I just think that instead of just staying in our own little, areas, and I get we are all busy, right? Like I tell people, send me fucking timestamps. I don't have time to sit here and listen to all of this shit. We all have lives and we have things to do. But there are so many parallels, and I think that Delphi is a case that has been thoroughly shit-coded by the FBI and thoroughly shit-coded by the true crime community. And I think the same of the Daybell Vallow case. I think that people who take interest in these other cases, like this satanic case going on in Australia, please look at Delphi, because this is something that is happening stateside. And like they say, it's a big club and we're not in it. And that's an old boys club in Indiana.
Well, I think we're at a good time. Dana, any final thoughts, or anyone really, any final thoughts? I think we kind of covered it all. And I don't know what time it is where you're at, Dana, but I'm sure you need to get to bed here soon. But if you want to let people know where they can find you at, any final thoughts, and we'll kind of go around the room type deal.
Candy, you're a hoe. And I am Routing Jules on YouTube, Instagram. My podcast is What is the Process? And Candace Owens is a hoe. That's all I have to say.
All right. Jacob, you're still here, so I might as well get a plug in. What's up, bud?
Yeah, so you can pretty much find me anywhere at Rise to Liberty or Beware the Mockingbird on Substack. And right now is a good time to come find me, because just a few weeks ago I launched my Satanic Panic is Real series. And every single Wednesday we do a new episode of diving into some case, some person, pretty much anything we can do to talk about the Satanic Panic. And so we're tearing that apart until we're done. And so it's going to probably be hundreds, if not thousands of videos at some point. So check that out. And actually tomorrow is the next episode. So see you guys there.
Hell yeah, brother. Austin, what you working on, buddy?
Dude. I just honestly, I think I know who exactly the people were who killed Abby and Libby in Delphi. I covered it in my episode as well, and I think Brad Holder was the key perpetrator, who was a member of the Vinlander group, which was an Odinist faction that was affiliated with the prison guards, who were very much abusing Richard Allen. Anytime you would have a meeting with his defense attorneys, they would be present, sporting the Odinist ties to the group itself with their prison guard patches, which conveniently were removed once the defense attorneys actually made that a priority in publicizing that or making it public. And then free Richard Allen, understanding Odin hanging from World Tree, the Odinist runes that were very much incorporated in the death ritual itself. I think that was initiatory practice. There's a Freemasonic cemetery plot that's very nearby as well, and I think that plays more of a, especially considering his apparently Brad Holder's son. Who was his son? Logan, who had been dating Abby who was one of the priority victims. So yeah, this is all a joke. They chose her because her mother dated a black man, and that was ran in it basically, effectively it was ethically smearing their principles in their faces in a certain way. So they wanted to make an example of her. And so anyway, it's fascinating shit. And yeah, everybody definitely needs to look into Delphi, because it's a perfect example of what's wrong in modern society. And also that you have these strategic political connections that seem to very much facilitate the cover up. And we just covered another current Indiana prolific pedophile. He was 24 years old, and his name was Jonathan Peternell. We just covered him. And what did he do? He co-hosted a podcast with the lieutenant governor of the state of Indiana, and before he was exposed as a prolific pedophile and the son of a preacher who was generating apparently distributing AI-generated pornography that even incorporated infants who were impregnated. It's fucked up. And so Indiana is one of the usual geographical suspects we should all be aware of. And that's what I'll leave you with. And I got nothing but love for all of you. I appreciate you, Dana. You already know this. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. It means the world to me.
Families. That's all I want to say. I'm not. Don't you let the families off the hook, Austin. We will have a stern conversation, because I'm telling you, there's a lot more shit to Delphi than just the Finlanders. Do not let that.
No, I believe you. Actually, this is perfect, because let's
rant.
talk about.
I'm not trying to pull you on a rant, man. I know.
No, I'm in. I'm all in. No, this is great promo for. You're coming on Friday still as well, right? And I'm very excited to have that conversation with you. Everybody tune in. We're going to do a live stream. I forget what time I scheduled you, but I scheduled a shitload of interviews in the next few weeks. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but anyway. So basically, I appreciate you, Dana, and it does mean the world to me that you spend the time in coming on and even showing up in the chat occasionally to steer us in the right direction sometimes. And it means the world to me. So beyond that, everybody knows you can find me at the Underclass Podcast. I just dropped episode 38 of whatever this is with Brad and Sam, and it was a lot of fun. I think he himself has been like 48 weeks straight of doing the damn thing and grinding out. So he's basically done with everything. And I feel a little bit of that just in terms of the overall emotional effect of all of this, and feeling the need to just reflect and take some time and ground yourself once more, and realize the people that you should be very much proud to have just developed and cultivated a relationship with over time. So I'll shut my mouth, but I really do appreciate you all, and it's nothing but love from me to you. And if you have the ability to support me, obviously the Patreon is the best way. So thank you all.
Well, for those who want to support what I'm doing, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can find this show on YouTube, Rumble, all the audio podcatchers. You can find it on Twitter as well, at Tower Gang Jose. And if you want to support the show the best way you can do that with money over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That'll give you access to a whole host of perks. I try to do 1 to 2 paywalled episodes per week. For example, Austin's coming back on Thursday, and we're going to be doing another part 7 of our Dutro series. I think, Jacob, are you coming on Wednesday? I have somebody else coming on Wednesday. Yes. And there you go, Jacob for part 3 on Wednesday of our West Memphis 3. And I try to keep about 4 behind the paywall at any given time, so it's weeks of paywalled content. You're getting stuff way earlier than the pores. You get access to the ad-free RSS feed. You get access to Telegram. You get access to the pre-show and the post-show for Already Dead, and the video calls for this, which is every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And I give a big shout out for my sponsors. It's the highest level. Is a big thank you, as my previous co-host in Tower Gang, at Learn to Toad, also at Brigade D's, at ZLVRCK, at _Infinite Zeal, Tim Tuttle, at John and Klebold, Free My Nigga, big fan of the show, Torme, at Wayne Tackless, 1-800-CAR for Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark Vestibule, and Jacob Winograd of the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. With that, guys, we're out of here. Appreciate you all. We'll see you again next Tuesday. Also follow my morning show if you like to hear kind of an info dump type show. where I kind of cover the latest. It's kind of my research. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, hit or miss. It's stuff on the fly, but it's Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's the goal. Holiday hours have been all over the place lately, but hit that bell for notifications so it'll let you know when I go live. But we'll see you again next week. Love you all. Bye-bye.